Okay, are you able to see my screen? Is my screen visible? Is my voice audible? Shall we get it started? Okay, thank you everyone. Okay, so let's do a small recap. Yesterday I have just introduced about Java Enums. Okay, so the Java Enums are very simple to remember. If you want to represent any constants in Java, you have two options. One is you can define those constants in a Java class. But the problem is in the Java class, if you have to define a constant, you will have to follow this naming convention. What I want to say is you need to ensure that the constant is being represented by a data type, and keywords like final, static must be used along with the public access modifier. And also you need to use the meaningful value. Value should be very meaningful. Okay, you need to take care of the constant in such a way that it can be defined in this way. Okay, you can define a constant in this way. If you're defining it in a class, you need to follow these protocols. Okay, so to avoid following these protocols, Java has introduced the concept of enums. Okay, if you ever had to define the same variables in the enum type, it can be represented just like this. Okay, directly you can prepare using the variable name. Okay, this is going to represent a constant. Okay, and also we have also understood the syntax about syntactical representation of Java enums. You usually keep access modifiers followed by the enum keyword followed by the name of the enum. It can be any name, it's up to you. Okay, inside this you can place the set of constants, right? And there are some points which I have mentioned yesterday about the enum representation, right? And so, okay, this is very important. If you ever write a enum and if you ever include some constants inside enum type, okay, if you ever include some constants inside enum type, right? So here are the these are the constants. However, the compiler is going to convert this particular enum like this. Okay, so compiler is going to add what? It is going to add public static final, right, before the exact constant, right? So we have defined it as available in the uppercase letter. Internally this is how it is going to get represented. Public static final. Okay, and the name of the type is user status, right? So for all the three constants, this is how it was defined. I mean, this is how it is going to be defined inside by the compiler, right? And the enum will get converted to class internally. These are the internal things. This is the developer's code. This is the compiler's correction. Compiler is going to modify this code in such a way that it is going to look like this. Okay, it is going to add the final keyword before the it is going to replace the enum with class, and this class is going to be a final class, and the name of the enum is going to be same as the class. I mean, both are going to be same, and it is going to add extends keyword, and it is going to extend java.lang.enum. Okay, these are the changes that will be done by the compiler. We have seen these things, and you can create objects for the class, but you cannot create objects for the enum type. Okay, this was the straightforward discussion that we have done yesterday. Okay, today we will understand much better about the Java enums. Okay, let me take a small example. Okay, I am taking a plain screen. Right? For example, in the if I take real-time examples, let us say that we are someone is asking your data, someone is asking your information, right? So your information can be a constant information. Most of the information can be constant, and few of the information can be unique, right? For example, the information like the country India, right? India is a constant, it cannot be changed, right? The information like the state Karnataka, okay? This is going to be constant, it cannot be changed, right? And this information like the city Chennai, it is going to be constants. Like that, the directions north, and we have south, we have east, right? We have west. Okay, these are the direct constants. Okay, you can represent these things directly instead of, okay, instead of instead of declaring these constants in a class. For example, if you ever had to declare these constants in a Java class, all these are constants. If you ever had to declare all these constants in a typical Java class, okay, you should ensure that this constant is getting a variable name and the keywords like public, static, final, right, string, right, country equal to India, right? Even though you try to save the the constant information by using a variable, right? You're using an additional variable. You're using what? You're using an additional variable country. You're using an additional variable like country to store the constant information, right? It is not, it is going to do what? The readability will be reduced, don't you think so? Why I should define a variable to store the constants? I can directly use the constant because it is going to be the same forever, right? Why I should separately define a variable, right? If I try to consider writing the constants inside a Java class, I need to write this much of code, this many lines of words. This many words in a line to represent a constant in a class, right? Likewise, if I ever had to represent the state, okay, country is fine. If I ever had to represent the state Karnataka, I need to follow this approach, right? I need to give a variable name like state equal to Karnataka, right? If I know that the constant is Karnataka is going to be a constant because you cannot change this. It's a constant. Why I should use a separate variable for this? Why I should waste a variable name for this? Why I should waste this? Right? And again, why I should keep declaring this public static final? Why I should keep declaring this public static final over and over again? Right? And again, why I should stick to the data type? Why I should stick to the data type? Right? These are considered as the disadvantage in representing a constant, in representing a Java constant. Right? To overcome this, they have introduced the concept called enums. Okay. See, the code, if I ever had to represent these constants instead of declaring it in a class, if I use Java enums, the code becomes very simple. The code becomes what? This is how the code looks like. Enum, right? Enum is the keyword, and I will use the same name, right? Inside this, instead of using all this public static string, country, etc., I can directly write a value India, Karnataka. That's it. See, look at the code. How much it become crispy in comparison with the class code. Let's do the comparison between the enum code and the class code to represent a constant. Enum code is very simple, right? It is very straightforward. You are directly saying these are the constants. You are not using any kind of keywords like static final, and you are not using the data type, and you are not pasting a separate variable name, right? So to overcome this, to avoid this, okay, Java has introduced the enum concept. This is the straightforward answer, right? Making sense? Everyone type S in the chat box, right? This is just a recap. Everyone type S in the chat box. Yeah, I just want to ensure that the session is interactive. Okay. Now we will see few more examples on top of Java enums for the better understanding. Okay. You will get complete picture. Stay focused. Okay. In Java enums. Okay. So you might be getting a doubt. If I ever take a class, if I ever take a Java class, I have an option to define variables, right? I also have an option to define constructors, right? I also have an option to define methods, right? And again, these variables can be what? Instance or static variables, right? I can do so many things in a class. I can do what? I can do so many things in a class. And also this class can extend to object class. So this can also be extended. Like I can use another class. I can use the another class to extend this particular class. This class can be inherited. With the class, I can do this many things. Okay. You can also do the same things with the enum, except for this. I will tell you what are the things that you can do with the enums. Right. So this is how when you can add this many entities in a Java class. At the same time, you also have an option to extend to the object class or extend to the any other class, and also you can place this class to be extended by another class. This many options you have with the Java classes. Okay, and what we have with Java enums, that's the question. What we can do with Java enums? So far we have discussed that with the Java enums we can declare only constants. Yes or no? I was telling you that only constants can be defined in Java enums. But apart from the constants, you can also do so many things just like the classes. What are they? Right? In Java enums, we can add what? Variables, methods, and constructors to it. You can also add the same things in the Java enums. You can also add variables, you can also add methods, you can also add constructors to it, right? But the main goal, the main objective is to define our own data types. Define our own data type. What does it really mean, sir? What does it mean? The main objective is to define our own data types. What does it really mean? We will discuss about this. Okay, these are the 2 points that one should remember. And apart from this, unlike Java classes, enums, when you talk about enums, they don't extend, they neither inherit other classes nor can get extended. Okay, you cannot follow this extents. I mean this pattern, this class pattern, especially when you want to inherit to the parent classes, or when the enum has to get inherited from the child class. I mean child enums, or there is no concept of child enums or parent enums, no such things. In Java you have superclass, you have subclass, but there is no such concepts in enums. Okay, these are the 3 points that one should remember. Okay, first we will discuss one by one so that especially this point will make more sense. Okay, before understanding this point, let me copy this point and paste it in the main screen. Okay, in this example, if I want to represent 3 constants, let us say that I have a constant like Aadhaar card number. Right? Aadhaar card number is a constant for a specific person. Let us say that 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If I want to declare this Aadhaar card number in a Java class, I should be using what? Public static final integer. Public static final integer and other variable name followed by the actual value. This is the value, right? And again public static final string state. Okay, Tamil Nadu. Okay, public static final boolean is married. Okay, true or false? True. See here, if I have to define any constants in a Java class, so there are three sets of data. One data is of integer type, second data is of what, string type, and the third data is of boolean type. Three data types I need to use, but all these values are constants. All these values are straight constants, right? But if I follow the enum approach, what it says, okay, if I follow the enum approach, enum A, okay, this representation can be converted like 1, 2, 3, 4, comma, Tamil Nadu, comma, true. Okay, all these types are this type is called as what? There is no specificity here. Here you can identify this value with integer. Here you can identify this value Tamil Nadu with string. Okay, and again the value true can be identified boolean data type. Okay, when these three values gets represented in the enum type, okay, all these three information, all these three constants will be represented by what type? Enum type. You call this as what type? Enum. This is called as enum type. There is no specificity. Why there is no specificity? Because you have declared these constants in the enum. That's why no specificity. Making sense? That's what it says. The main objective is to define our own data types. The own data types means what? The enum type. This is called as what? The own data type. Okay, all this value, even though you see numerical value, you see string value, and also you see what? The boolean value, all this value will be categorized under one own data type, that is called as enum type. Are we good? Is it making sense, everyone? Yes, no? Is that information justified? Come on. Right? So that is what it means. Right? So let us understand one by one. How to declare an enum in Java. So we will understand the declaration part. First thing, declaration can be done outside the class. What does it really mean? Okay. For example, if I want to represent directions, all the directions are constants. Okay, so enum directions. Okay, so if I am not using enum for each and every direction, I need to represent that value of the direction inside a particular variable. For example, if I have north, okay, north is directly a north. Do I need any variable for that to be defined separately? North, south, east, west. This information is always constant. Is there any other name for north? No. When you talk about direction, you talk direction in such a way that that directions has been separated into four entities. One is north, south, east, and west. Okay, I do not want to waste a separate variable to store this north or south or east or west. Directly I can specify inside the enum. Okay, so the declaration can be done outside the class. What does it really mean? I have taken an enum. Okay, if I ever want to work with this enum, I can define a class. In that class, I can define a main method like this. Public class test public static void name string array arguments. Okay, This is what it means. Declaration can be done outside the class. So here there is a class and here there is an enum. Don't you think that this enum has been declared outside the class? This enum is not part of any class. This enum is not part of any class. Okay, that is okay. Declaration part is okay. How can we access this value? How one can access this values? Very simple. Use system.out.println, right? Use the enum name followed by constant. This is one way of accessing directly. This is one way of accessing the value directly, or else the other way is use the enum name followed by any constant, and store this constant to a variable d1, direction 1. d1 is direction 1. Variable is of what type? Directions type. Okay, so here I am accessing the value, and again I am storing this value. I am catching this value, and I am assigning this value to a separate variable which is called as d1. Okay, this d1 is of what type? Directions type. Okay, now I can do what? System.out.println. I can access d1. If I access d1, I will be getting output as south. Okay, let us run this. Let me remove all this. Okay, I have saved the code. Let me open the command prompt. Okay. This is the command prompt. I am changing the directory. cd space java c space test.java. Okay. This is syntax error. I missed this exit block. Java space test. So not so, right? Not so. What is an advantage that you see here? You did not use public static void main, right? And you did not use any variable name to store those constants, and again you did not use any data types. Why we are not supposed to use any data type? By default, these are the enum types. These are the enum types. It is not like you can store only strings. It is not like you can store only strings. You can store any values, right? So this is giving a justification. Declaration can be done outside the class. Second point, same point but small correction. Opposite, just opposite. Declaration can be done inside the class. Okay, when I say inside the class, very simple. Take the same code, copy and paste. This is now not part of class. Cut this and make it as a part of this class. Now declaration can be done inside the class. Don't you think so? Declaration is done inside the class. Let us copy and paste the same code. Let us see if you are getting any errors. See, no difference. So this is ideally we are getting to know if it can be declared outside the class and if it can be declared inside the class. For both the questions, answer is yes. It can be declared outside the class. It can be declared inside the class. Making sense? Type yes in the chat box if you are good so far. Everyone respond. Come on. Good. Okay. Now next points are points to be noted. Okay. the first line inside the enum should be a list of constants. Okay, you need to remember first line should always be the list of constants, and then you can add other things. Like, what are the other things that we can add here? Right, you can add methods, right? You can add variables, ordinary variables, and you can add what? Constructors. You can do these many things, but you should keep in mind the first line should always be what? List of constants. Example, if I have enum A, okay, red is a constant, blue is a constant, green is a constant. All the constants should be defined in the first line. Then you can have variables. It can be instance or static. Then you can have constructors, right? This order can be anything. Okay. Then you can have what? Methods. Okay. First line should be this. This is valid. This is valid. And if you talk about this, with respect to the statement, if you talk about this, there is a clear-cut violation because the constants are not in the first line. It's not in the first line, which means invalid. This is valid. With respect to this statement, this is valid, this is invalid. Making sense? Right? Second point. Please be informed that according to the Java naming conventions, it is highly recommended that we name constants with uppercase. Okay. All the constants must be represented with uppercase. Doesn't mean that if I represent this constant with the lowercase, no, will it not work? Let us check that. I need to change. I have changed here, so I need to change here as well, right? Okay. It is working. It is working. It is not like it won't work. It will definitely work, but it is highly recommended to use the letters, to use the constants in the uppercase letter. Highly recommendation, not the compulsion. This is a recommendation, not the compulsion. Okay, there is a lot of difference between the recommendation and the compulsion. It is highly recommended. So we have to follow the guidelines given by the Java. It is highly recommended. Okay, it is highly recommended. Okay, these two lines are making more sense, I guess. Okay. Now let us take a small example. Okay, I have enum. The name of the enum is enum test. Inside this, I am taking one value. The value is India. Only one constant I am declaring here. Only one constant. What I am doing declaration of only one constant. Okay. When you do the compilation, okay, when you perform the compilation, internally compiler is going to do a lot of modifications on top of this. A lot of modifications will be done. What are they? What are the modifications? Okay, on compilation, right? Let us take a copy of this. On compilation, the compiler is going to remove this. Okay? Enum will be removed. Enum will be what? Enum will be removed. Instead of enum, internally compiler will represent this as class itself. These are the internal things. First point to remember. internally this will be treated as a class, right? And the class is going to be represented with the final class, final keyword. Okay, and this class is going to extend to what? Java.lang.enum. These are the internal things. So this is one internal thing. Remember, this is one internal thing. Okay, this is one internal thing. Okay, this is one internal thing. This will be added by the compiler. Compiler is going to do a lot of conversion. Okay, this is the user program. This is the compiler's representation. Compiler is going to change this program according to its requirement. It's going to add final keyword. It is going to add class. It is going to what? Extend java.lang.enum object. Same here. I think we have seen this example yesterday. Like if you go back here, see? Same thing. We have seen this yesterday. Okay, I am just giving the picture in detail today. Okay, java.lang.enum, right? And again, after doing this, it is going to add what? Okay, in front of constant, it is going to treat this constant by adding these keywords: public, static, final, right? And the type is going to be what? The enum type. Here it is going to take the name of the enum, test equal to, not equal to, I'm sorry, let me do this again. Public, static, final, test. That's it. Okay, all the variables by default will be changed as public, static, final. Okay, every enum constant represents an object of type enum. So this is constant of enum. Okay, the data type of this constant is what? The enum type itself, the test type. Okay, usually how the value India will be represented? Usually in a Java class you can represent India in a string, right? String, and you need to use the variable name country followed by the value India. This is the typical representation, legacy representation. Okay, but when you use enum, this is how it gets represented. Okay, and the India is of what type? Test type, not string type. In enums it is what? Class type, enum type. But here it is string type, but in enum it will be represented in the test type. Why test type? That is the name of the enum. If the name of the enum is some other thing, that some other thing will be the type of this constant, right? So these many things are getting happen internally, right? Let us add some points here. Properties of enum in Java. Okay, please be informed that every enum is internally implemented by using a class. What does it really mean? Okay, go back to the paint screen. This is the programmer's code. You defined enum, but internally it is getting represented by class. Okay, you defined enum, but compiler is internally treating it as a class, converting it to a class. That is what it means. Every enum is internally implemented by using a class. Okay. Second point. Every enum constant represents an object of type enum. Okay, what is the justification for this line? Let us go back to the paint screen. Okay, so in this example, okay, in this case, Every constant is of what type? An object type of string. Okay, the value is defined by the data type string, but here the value is defined by the constant is defined by the data type enum, test type. Test means nothing but enum. Okay, same thing here. Every enum constant represents an object type of enum, as simple as that. Thirdly, you can pass the enum constants to a Java switch statement. We have discussed this already, Java switches, okay, in our previous lecture. Just repeat that. Instead of passing the data type like integer, float, double, integer, float, character, we can also pass the enum constant in the switch cases. Right? Every enum constant is always implicitly public static final. Since it is static, we can access it by using the enum name itself. Since it is final, we can't create a child enums. Very simple. Go back to the diagrammatic illustration. Okay, by default you have defined only one constant, which is nothing but the country India. Country India has been defined as a constant by the programmer, but the compiler is treating it as what? Public static final. Okay, and the name of the enum, enum is going to have the final keyword, which means you cannot have the sub enums. For example, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. I cannot do what? Enum. I cannot take another enum, and that another enum cannot be extended to the current enum. I cannot do this. This is not possible. I cannot have a child enum. Child enums are not possible. Why it is not possible? We are using the keyword like final. Final means you cannot define any sub enums. You cannot define any sub enums. For a class, typically for a Java class, you can define child class or you can define the parent class. But for enums, there is no such concepts. You cannot define any sub enums. Okay, this is the justification for this. Okay. The last point says you can also define the enums in the main method. When we can declare the main method inside the enum. Hence, we can invoke the enum directly from the command. What does it really mean, guys? What does it really mean? For example, let us take a main function inside the enum. So this is my enum. Okay. What I'm trying to do it here is I'm removing this. Okay. I have just removed this, and now this enum, we have defined this enum inside the, we have defined the main method inside the enum. Usually, how the main method will be defined typically? Okay, you can have a class A. Inside the class A, you can do what? System public static void main. Okay. This is the legacy way of defining a main method inside a Java class. But enum as an option, you have an option with enum. Like you can also do this. Instead of declaring the main method inside a Java class, you can also declare the main method inside the Java enums. This is also possible, they are saying. Typically, we place the main method inside a class. Okay, but enum is coming with an advantage. What is that advantage? You can also use the main method. You can also define the main method inside enum. Right? Same thing I have done here. I have taken enum. This enums has 4 constants, and also I have defined a method. What kind of method is this? This is a main method. I have also declared the main method inside the Java Enums. Is it really going to work? Okay, this is the parsing error, don't worry. One. Okay, I need to remove this, right? I'm changing the file name because now it's enum type. So directions.java. Right? We are able to get the output. Okay, why did I change the file name? Previously, the file name was test of class type. Now, this time the file name has been changed to directions.java because we have defined the main method inside the enum. So, we need to use the file name same as the enum type because main method is inside the enum. That's why directions.java. Right? We are able to run this code. We are also able to get the output. Okay? So, my statement is valid. What is the statement? We can declare the main method inside the enum. So this is the important interview question. Interview question will be like question. Can we declare main method inside enum? Can we declare a main method inside Java Enums? Yes, we can. This is the example. There will be no issues. Don't get confused if you get this interview question. Okay, you might be wondering, this is not even a class, this is an enum. Okay, is there any option like the main method can be declared inside the enum? Is there any option? Yes, there is an option. Enum is coming with that advantage. It says you can also use the main method. You can also place the main method inside Java Enums. There will be no issues. You can still execute the program. Where is the proof? This is the proof. You are able to get the output. No compilation errors. No execution. No runtime errors. Are we good so far? Type as in the chat box, everyone. Everyone type as in the chat box. Right. Next point. I'm covering all the look and chrony of the Java enums. Okay. We are not going to miss anything. Second one. Can we do the looping to enum constants? Yes, we can. What does it really mean? What does it really mean? Let us take a small example. Okay, instead of this, let us take the previous example. Okay, I have what? I have declared an enum of directions north, south, east, west, right? And I have the main method. I have what? I have the main method. Okay, I need to print all these constants at once. I need to print what? I need to print all these constants. Okay, to print all these constants, I will be using a method called values method. We will discuss about this values method. Okay, yes, we will have to iterate to the constants by using values methods. Values method. Right? So there is a for loop in Java, enhanced for loop in Java. We haven't discussed about this enhanced for loop. To discuss about this enhanced for loop, we need to use the arrays concept. We require Java arrays. Okay, this is the future topic, but I will give you the small picture about this. Okay, enhanced for loop is like just you will be using the for keyword. Okay, inside this for block, you will be using what? You will be declaring the enum type directions. Enum type followed by a variable name d. Any variable name you can give, a semicolon, followed by again the enum type dot values method. This is the enhancer for loop. No worries. For the time being, just understand it like the moment you do this, you will be able to print all the constants at a time. What we have just did, I have taken a for loop. This is called as enhanced for loop. Enhanced for loop. Okay, the syntax is inside this for loop, you will iterate through this constants. You need to iterate. Firstly, the cursor will be placed here. Internal representation will be like this, guys. Let me put in the paint screen for the better clarity. Okay, this is our code. System.out.println. Okay, this is our code. Focus here. Let me reduce the size. Okay. So this is our code. Okay. Execution always starts from the main method. So these are the actual things that we already know. We are already aware of. Okay. Inside the main method. So there is a for loop. This for loop is called as enhanced for loop. This for loop is called as what? Enhanced for loop. Okay. Usually all these values, north to south, east, west, they would be internally, this is the internal representation, they would be stored in an array. This is how the memory location would be. Okay, there are so 4 constants, so there will be 4 blocks of memory created inside the RAM, north to south, and each and every constants will be stored according to the representation, according to this order. Okay, and they will get indexes starting from 0. Don't worry about this. Definitely we are going to see all these things in the future topic, in the arrays concept. Okay, these are the indexes 0, 1, 2, 3. These are the values, constants. This is how it gets stored internally in a box of array, in a sequence of array. Okay, and there will be a cursor. Pointing to this. Okay. The moment you define this, the moment you say directions dot values, okay, what it is going to do, look at the length of the array. What is the length of the array? How many boxes we have? 1. Don't you think that we have 4 boxes? This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. What does it really mean? This for loop will run for 4 times. This for loop, okay, this for loop will run for how many times? 4 times. This for loop will run for 4. Why 4 times? The size, the values, there are 4 values, so this will run for 4 times. 1 time, second time, third time, 4 times. Okay, for the first time the cursor will be pointing here. Pointing here. Okay, it is going to fetch the value north. And it will be displayed in the console. The second iteration is pointing to this. It's going to fetch the value south, will be displayed in the console. For the third time, pointing to east, this will be fetched, displayed in the console. Fourth time, fetched, this will be fetched, displayed in the console. Fifth time, there is no fifth time. There is no, that's it. The iteration stops. Why only 4 times it is going to get iterated? Because there are 4 values. If there are 5 values, 5 times it is going to get iterated. There are 10 values, 10 times it is going to get iterated. Right? Having said this, if I run this code, I should be getting the expected output. What is the expected output? North, south, east, west. System dot out dot println D. D. How many times this loop will run? 4 times. Why 4 times? There are 4 constants. If there are 5 constants, 5 times. Think like that. Think like that. I'm just giving you the basic idea about this enhancer for loop. We will be discussing deep. We are going to do the deep diving into it in the future topic. Right? If I run this code, I need to do the saving. Right? File save as. It should be test.java this time, because the main method is placed in a class which is of test. Okay. Okay, 1 minute. Public class test public static void main is for loop. Okay, Java C space test dot Java space north, south, east, west. Okay, if I have 5, I mean, is there any other directions? No, I can take any other, like country India. India is also a constant. Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is also constant. How many times this for loop is enhanced for loop is going to get iterated? 6 number of times, because there are 6 pointers, 3, 4, 5, 6. For the first time, north will be retrieved. For the second time, south, east, west, India. The order will be same. Order will be same. Order will not be mismatched. See, north, south, right? So we have found a method, values method. Values is going to fetch all the constants, right? By using this method, this value is going to fetch all the constants inside, and each and every constants will be displayed in the console according to the order. The order that we have specified, the same order we will be getting in the console by using only one formula. Right? That is the use of values method. Internally, it will be converted into an array. We will discuss these things in detail in the future topics. Right? Making sense, everyone? Values method. Values is one of the one of the important methods in Java Enums. Okay. So let us try to implement our own thing. This is my own example. Another example. Okay. This time I want to see, just assume that you have gone to the market. You want to purchase apples. You want to purchase what? You want to purchase apples. Okay. Apple. You want to purchase apple. Okay, in the market, and you have found an apple stall, fruit stall. So there are three sets of apples. Okay, A set, B set, sorry, A set, A grade, B grade, and C grade. Everywhere, if you go to fruit stall, there will be 3 grades or sometimes 4 grades also. Depends upon the quality. The rate will be directly proportional to the quality. If the quality is good, rate is going to be good. If the quality is bad, rate will be reduced. Likewise, there are 3 grades: A grade, B grade, C grade. Right? To get locked out of this meeting, try to do the rejoin. Apple. There are 3 grades. One is A grade, second one is B grade, and the third one is what? Is C grade. A grade apple, B grade apple, and C grade apple. Okay. Internally, how the conversion happens? So, from the compiler point of view, what the compiler is going to do? This will be converted to what? Before enum, final keyword will be added. Okay. This enum will be converted to what? Class. Right? Apple is going to be apple itself. Name cannot be changed. And it is going to get extended to what? Java.lang.enum. Same thing, the diagrammatic representation which I have showed previously, same thing. You are doing it again, nothing else. Right? And there will be opening parenthesis, there will be a closing parenthesis. And again, each and every constant is going to be declared with public static final apple a. Public static final b, because each and every constant is going to get this set. Public static final c. Okay, but these are the three grades: A grade, B grade, C grade. But I want to define the price. A grade apple is going to cost 500 rupees. B grade apple is going to cost something like 400 rupees, and C grade apple is going to cost something like 300 rupees. Okay, to define this price, I have used some additional thing here. This was not there previously. Now I am using it some additional. I am representing a value here. There is a specificity here. Along with the constant, there is a specific value here. This specific value is representing the price of the apple. Price of the A grade apple is A, 500. Price of B grade apple is 400. Price of C grade apple is what? 300. Right? So this needs to be converted internally by the compiler. So compiler is going to do what? It is going to use the new keyword followed by a Thank you for rejoining. I hope my screen is visible, my voice is audible. Just a confirmation, quick confirmation. Okay, thank you. Let me continue. Okay, so I am representing three grades here. Okay, grade A, I am assigning a value. So this will be treated as a constructor inside the compiler is going to treat this as a constructor. So I am using the new keyword A followed by the price tag 500. Likewise, equal to new B followed by the price 400. Right, equal to new C followed by the price what? 300 here. If I don't use this, if I represent only constant, okay, we are not supposed to use this. But since I am using a separate constructor here, okay, this defines the constant along with the constructor. So this is how the internally it will get represented. Right? Internally this is how we will get. So in the beginning of the class, I have already said you. I have said you one thing. What is that one thing? I said you can define the variable inside the enum. Okay, I am taking the variable as price. You can define the constructor inside the enum. The constructor name should be same as the enum type. So apple. Okay, this constructor is going to transfer the local value to the class level variable. Okay, for those who don't understand the constructor, please repeat my constructor video. This will make sense. I'm taking a constructor. So we will take the values from the end user and we will assign those values to the class level variables. Okay, this is the constructor, this is the variable, and internally these things will be represented like the way that we have declared. The compiler is not going to do anything. Same thing like this, it is going to represent like this. No changes for the variables and for the constructor. There will be no change. It is going to be same. Okay, and also I am declaring a method public int get price return. Okay. Same thing we can declare. Okay, Okay, let me open the plain screen for the better understanding. File, new. Okay. So this is the programmer's code. This is programmer's code. The program developed by the programmer. Okay, this is the programmer's code. And after compilation, the code is getting represented like this. After compilation, okay, because of the compilation, the code has been changed to this. This is what? This is the compiler's code. Compiler's code. Compiler's code. Here changes are happened only to this. Changes are happened only, especially the main changes are happened here. Everything remains same. Okay. This is the main change and this is the main change. And again everything is remaining same. Methods are same, constructors are same. To define like this, it is getting converted like this. Now tell me guys, tell me one thing. So these are the constants. But along with the constants, I have defined some values, right? And this is the variable. Okay, this is what? This is the constructor, right? And this is what? This is the method. What I was just telling you in the previous, in the beginning of the class, you can define constants in the first line. Okay, after that you can define a variable just like the class. Inside the class you are defining a variable like that. Inside the enums you can define variables. Inside enums you can define constructors. And inside enum you can define what? Methods. Okay, let us copy the same code and try to execute this code. Okay, we don't require this code. Instead of this we require the main method. I'm copying this enum code. Okay, let me remove all this. Okay, this is the defined enum here. Okay, I am taking another class, public class test. Okay, this is the inside this test class. I am taking the main method, public static void main string array. Okay, what it is just to public static void main I have taken, and I am taking the main value string array also. Okay, I have taken the enum and I have taken a class. So this is the main class because there is a main method. I have defined a main method here. Right? So usually, how do we get these values guys? Usually, for example, I want to invoke this method. I want to invoke this method. I want to do what? I want to invoke this method. This is what? This is an instance method. This is not a static method. But this method is part of Java Enum. This method is part of what? Java Enum. Right? Let me do this. So a dot get price. A dot get price. So why I am using a dot get price here? Go back to our code, the compiler's representation. Right? So inside the compiler, this a is what? This a is a variable, object reference. A is what? Object reference. Usually, you must understand this. For example, if I have a class A, we have class A. Okay, and if I want to create object for this class A obj equal to new A. Okay, by using this reference variable, I will be able to invoke methods and variables, such things. Obj dot method one, whatever it is, by using this reference variable, I am able to invoke. Right? Likewise, internally, compiler has done this modification. Okay, I am taking this reference variable A. I am using this reference variable A. Right? I am calling the get price method. These are happening internally. It is not visible to me. These are the things that is happening internally. Okay. What I am trying to do by using this reference variable A, I am trying to access get price method. Right. Same thing I am doing it. a dot get price, because this a is part internally, this a is a reference variable. A is the object reference. By using this object reference, I am trying to access the get price method. I'm trying to access what? Get price method. So this get price method is of what type? Apple type. So that I'm using what? Apple dot a dot get price method. By doing this, I can able to print the price of the A grade apple. System dot out dot println. If I do this, I will be able to display 500 in the console. Let us check this if we are really getting this or not. 500. Very simple. You might be thinking how I am able to write this code. Okay, that's why I have defined you already about the internal representation. Internally, this conversion is happening. Go back here. Internally, this conversion is happening. Okay, compiler is doing this conversion. Compiler is doing this conversion, right? And internally, compiler is assigning a reference variable. I mean, internally, compiler is doing what? Assigning a reference variable A, B, C, and creating a constructor internally. So this is the reference variable. I am using this reference variable A to access the instance method, which is get price. When I do this, I will be able to access get price method, but it is returning price. But these two things are part of enum type. Enum is of what type? Apple. Right? That's why I'm using Apple. If I do this, I will get 500. If I do apple dot b dot get price, I should be getting 400 in the console. If I do apple dot c dot get price, I should be displaying 300 in the console. Let us do all this. Run this code. Let us see what is the output that we are going to get. 500, 400, 300. Okay. To understand this accessing, to understand this accessing, I have explained you about this internal representation. If you go through this, definitely you will get this. Internally, this conversion is happening. Okay, by using this internal object reference. Okay, what is actually happening here? You are declaring A as a constant, B as a constant, C as a constant, but these values are variable. These variable values are, and again, we are using a constructor to these variable values. But since we are dealing with only the constants, okay, these constants here in this context can be treated as object reference. Object reference. So to access this value, okay, I am using the get price method. Okay, this get price method, by using this constant and by using this type, I am able to print 500 the console. By using this type, by using this constant, by using this get price, I am able to display this value. By using this, and by using this, I am able to display this value. Making sense? You repeat this video, you will get this, everyone. Definitely, after repeating this video, definitely you are going to get this. Right? And so these are all about Java Enums. And okay, you maybe get a question like, what is the purpose of the values method? The in. What is the purpose of values method? This is a very important question. The answer is, the values method can be used to return all the values present in. Very simple. Present in the Enum with the help of nested for. enhanced for loop, I can say, not nested, enhanced for. And one more question can be, the another question could be like this. Can we have an abstract method inside the enum? So things will be like that. Can we create the instance for an enum? Can we create an object or instance for an enum? We cannot create. We can't create an object or instance. Object and instance are both are same. Okay. That's it, guys. I think. I think that's it. If there is anything else, I will add those things in the tomorrow. Okay, just repeat these two videos about the enums introduction and this enums concept. Okay, this will be like, this will make more sense once you do the repetition. Okay.